wrestling fans. My name is Brian Crazy. You are watching the F brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Thanks for tuning in once again. I am back with my review of the longest running weekly episodic television show in history. That's right, Monday Night Raw for July 23rd, 2012. Monday Night Raw emanated from St. Louis, Missouri, and it was a fantastic show. It was the 1000th edition of Monday Night Raw, and Monday Night Raw just hit another huge milestone with this edition. It was a fantastic episode, and we'll jump right into the review. Great video package to start off the show, absolutely phenomenal, highlighting the 19-year run of Monday Night Raw. Then we see Vince McMahon come out. He thanks the fans and introduces none other than D-Generation X. It has been hyped for the last week that D-Generation X would start off the show. Triple H and Shawn Michaels come out, and they say, hey, there used to be some more of us, and they bring out Sean Waltman, who portrayed the character X-Pac in the WWE, Mr. Ass, and Road Dogg Jesse James. Absolutely phenomenal segment. I mean, I've been a fan of professional wrestling pretty much all my life. The eras before and after the Attitude Era, but I remember being a kid growing up in the Attitude Era, and that was some great television. It made me feel like a little kid again, and reminded me why I loved that era so much and why it was such must-see television. Then we see Damien Sandow comes out. He gets, cuts one of his promos, which he is so good at. I do have to say, Damien Sandow is one of my favorite new talent to debut this year in the WWE, and he gets a sweet chin music and a pedigree for his trouble. Then we go into the first match of the night. Sheamus and Hart, Rey Mysterio pick up the win over Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, and Alberto Del Rio. All these men have issues with one another. Then we see AJ and Layla backstage, and Layla's asking AJ, does she really want to go through with this? And AJ is saying, oh, everybody calls me unstable. Look, we're in the WWE, it's unstable. So they open the door, and none other than Hacksaw Jim Duggan's there. So they kind of close it, they open it again, and there's Roddy Piper and R-Truth, and they're playing jump rope with Little Jimmy. I mean, hell. And then the last segment, they open the door again, and I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but back in the day, back during the Attitude Era, Mae Young and Mark Henry had a little thing going on. And Mark Henry impregnated Mae Young, and she ended up giving birth to just a hand. Nothing else, just a hand. Well, the hand is all grown up, and I mean, my God, this is some... I do have to say, guys, absolutely hilarious. And then we go into the next match. This was a very quick match. I would like to see it go a little bit longer. I do have to say, how much farther are they going to just... I don't know any better term to use it. It's like, what's left for Jack Swagger? I mean, really. I mean, the guy's lost so many matches, former World's Heavyweight Champion. Is he ever going to rebound? Can he rebound from this point? But he goes one-on-one with Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay has Dude Love come down to the ring, and I am a huge fan of Mick Foley. I'm a huge fan of Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love. But Dude has always been one of my favorite characters, and we haven't seen the Dude, if I'm not mistaken, since 1998. Maybe there was an appearance since then, but last time he was Dude Love on a weekly basis was 1998. And absolutely phenomenal mark-out moment for me, and it was great. Brodus Clay did pick up a quick win. I really would have liked to see a longer match, and that was the question I'm asking. What is left for Jack Swagger? He's lost so many matches this year, and former World's Heavyweight Champion, what is left? Maybe you guys can leave some of your thoughts below. Post-match, we see Jack Swagger attempt to go after the Dude, and the Dude hits him with the Dude Love sheath, which is the Dude Love version of Mr. Socko. Then we go backstage with Triple H and Trish Stratus. And this reminds me of a segment that happened so many years ago. And Trish Stratus is trying to convince Triple H that he should try yoga. And as he tries bending over, doing some of the maneuvers, he says he can feel it pulling in his hamstring. And then DX comes walking in. I assumed Stephanie was going to come walking in, but with the angle that they did a little bit later in the night with Triple H, Stephanie, Paul Heyman, and Brock Lesnar, I can understand why they did this. And DX comes in. They start busting his tail a little bit. All the guys leave except for Waltman. And Waltman starts acting like he wants to hit on Trish. And Trish is just like, get away from me. Doesn't look too comfortable, you know what I mean? And then we go backstage with Daniel Bryan. And these don't look like groomsmen. They're orderlies. And I wonder if he ended up getting married to AJ, was he going to ship her off to the insane asylum? I mean, where was this going? Pretty interesting right there. Then we go into the AJ Daniel Bryan wedding. We see WWE legend Slick as the Reverend. And during this wedding, it looks like it's going to go all the way through. They've exchanged rings, they've exchanged vows. It looks like they're going to say the final part of the ceremony, and it's going to be over. They're going to commence it. And AJ grabs the mic, or if there was a mic already in front of her, if I'm not mistaken, and she says she accepted somebody else's proposal, another man's proposal. So it's going through my head. Who? CM Punk, Kane, another man. Who is it? Vince's music hits. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Until Vince announces that AJ Lee is the new general manager of Monday Night Raw. Now, could she be like a Vicky Guerrero? I've gotten a comment earlier in the day, and I found it very interesting. Could she be like a Vicky Guerrero? Could she have taken that general manager position to help influence a superstar that she wants? And whoever's on AJ's side probably is going to get the push, very similar to a Vicky Guerrero. So in future weeks, this is going to be very interesting. Right now, I don't know what to think of this. I haven't even fully processed this, to be perfectly honest with you. But it could be great. It could be, it all depends on how it's written, how it's booked, and how it's executed. At the end of the day, I mean, most storylines can turn out okay if the person playing the part, the writing, and the execution are good. I mean, if you got poor execution and poor writing, of course, it's going to be a poor storyline. I mean, some guys have been able to take nothing and turn it into something, but usually you need success through all of those major components to equal something that is good. Then we go, basically, Vince announces that she's the new general manager. She ends up leaving the ringside area, and then CM Punk comes out. This is after Daniel Bryan flips out and destroys the set. CM Punk comes out, and then The Rock comes out. The Rock announces he is now the #1 contender at the Royal Rumble 2013 pay-per-view, and he will face whoever the WWE champion is. And you can tell this doesn't go over well with CM Punk, and a little bit later in the night, you'll get to see what I mean. We come back from break, and Justin Roberts announces that Bret Hart is the guest timekeeper and ring announcer for the following match, and he mentions one of the best moments of his career when he faced the late, great Curt Hennig and won the Intercontinental Championship from him on Monday Night Raw. Rest in peace, Curt Hennig. I wish he could have been there tonight. And that brings up something that I really want to touch on real quick before I jump into this match that Bret Hart was the guest ring announcer for. No Stone Cold Steve Austin. Very, very surprising. I know he had some previous obligations he had to tend to, but the buzz on the internet was looking like Stone Cold was going to be there tonight. And I was very, very surprised with such a huge episode of Raw. Vince McMahon would have pulled out all the stops to get Stone Cold there. I'm not complaining. I'm not dissing this episode. I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It was a phenomenal night on Monday Night Raw, but it just didn't feel right without Stone Cold Steve Austin, to be perfectly honest. He was such a huge part of that program. I mean, God, from 1995, 1996 to 2003, he made an appearance in 2004. He's made occasional appearances since then. I mean, a huge part of Monday Night Raw in its 19-year run, and I really felt like Austin should have been there, but like I said, I guess he had some previous obligations that he could not get out of, and it's a real shame, in my opinion, as a wrestling fan, not as a reviewer, not as an analyst, but as a fan, it would have been a mark-out moment to get to see one of my favorite superstars of all time. But then we go into the Intercontinental title match, and there's nothing to take away from this match. Great back-and-forth action. Christian ends up going against The Miz, and this is a phenomenal match. The Miz ends up picking up the win, and he is your new Intercontinental Champion. Now, Christian was a solid Intercontinental Champion. I really felt like if they were going to do this, why not put the United States title back on The Miz, to be perfectly honest? Not that I dislike Santino. Santino's come a long way since he was turned into that pure comedy character. And not that I dislike the comedy character, because I absolutely love comedy in wrestling. I love the entertainment factor. It's not just wrestling for me. I like the wrestling and I like the entertainment. That's why I'm a fan of sports entertainment. But at the end of the day, I do like good wrestling, and I like good characters, and I like guys that go out there and bust their ass, and I respect guys that go out there and bust their ass. Regardless if I like the gimmick, I respect these guys because they put their necks on the line. Now, there are some guys that go out there and they haven't put their necks on the line to the best of their ability. They haven't done everything that they possibly could to get over, or prove that they should be there, or give it all of their heart. And yeah, that's when us wrestling reviewers, fans should criticize superstars such as that. But when guys go out there and give it their all, they should get some credit. And Santino's tried very hard. He's had some pretty high-profile matches this year. But I honestly think at this point in time, we need a stronger United States champion. And I think The Miz would have fit that bill perfectly tonight. Then we go into probably one of the biggest segments of the night, minus the main event. And we see Triple H come out. He's still dressed in his DX attire, but he's all down to business. No more laughing from Triple H. He comes out, and he basically calls out Brock Lesnar. He wants an answer if Brock Lesnar is going to face him at the SummerSlam pay-per-view. And Brock Lesnar doesn't come out. None other than Paul Heyman comes out. And Heyman and Triple H go back and forth. And Heyman ends up insulting Triple H and Stephanie's children. In real life, they are married, and they do have children, if you guys aren't aware of that. And this really lights the fire in Triple H, but it lights the fire in somebody else. Yes, Stephanie McMahon, former general manager of Friday Night SmackDown, the daughter of Vince McMahon, one of the fourth generation of McMahons to help run the company, and phenomenal talent in ring, not just because of who her father is. She made her own niche on her own merit, and she came out and she, like nobody else, she baited Heyman into this match. She baited Heyman to agreeing Heyman to agree to this match for Brock Lesnar, excuse me. And I'm just so excited. It was such a great night on Raw. There's just so much to talk about. I apologize. And, Paul Heyman accepts this match. And then Stephanie ends up walloping on Heyman, just knocking him right down to the ground, beating him down. This is when Brock Lesnar comes out. Brock Lesnar and Triple H go back and forth. It looks like right off the bat, Brock Lesnar's going to get the upper hand. But Triple H held his own, and he held his own to the point that he actually knocked Brock back out of the ring. And, man, it is going to be a fight, and I can't wait to see this match at SummerSlam. I mean, honestly, this is going to probably be one of the best Brock matches since he's made his return. Now, Brock Lesnar's been an enigma since making his return, just like Chris Jericho. A lot of people say, oh, what's the point of him coming back? He's just going to be losing matches. He's helping put over new talent. He's not going to be there forever. He's only going to be there for about a year-long run, only working 25 to 30 dates. But in those 25 to 30 dates, for that money that Vince McMahon is paying him, he is doing his job. He is not jobbing. And his job is to help put over new talent. Very, very similar to what Big Van Vader did back in 1998. How many names did Vader put over? Everybody said, oh, Vader was a complete joke when he came in. Vader wasn't a joke at all. Vader put over so many great names. Excuse me, guys. My throat's getting a little dry. Unfortunately, I don't have a cup of water or anything next to me at this point. So bear with me, and we're going to run through the rest of this. So Heyman and Lesnar have an incredible fight. They go back and forth, and this closes out that segment. Then Heath Slater, the one-man Southern rock band, comes out and says, forget all the past matches. Forget all the past confrontations. Match tonight is going to matter. I want a no disqualification, no count-out match, and none other than Lita comes out. And Lita was a great superstar in the WWE, former Divas champion. She used to wrestle, man, and I mean, absolutely phenomenal talent. She says that she has special protection for tonight in the APA, and Howard Finkel is the guest ring announcer. I should have mentioned that before. I'm sorry. Heath Slater tries to run out, and he is stopped by Road Warrior Animal, Sid Vicious, Big Van Vader, Rikishi, Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Diamond Dallas Page, Doink the Clown, and Bob Backlund. They force him back to the ring. Slater ends up eating the clothesline from hell, ends up getting the twist of fate and the moonsault from Lita. Lita ends up picking up the win. And then Ron Simmons, Farouk, has, his catchphrase. He's got to say it, especially in a situation like this. Damn. I mean, my God, what a mark-out moment. What a mark-out night as a wrestling fan. Then backstage, we see Sean Moon, former backstage interviewer for the WWE. He was an interviewer on the first episode of Monday Night Raw back in 1993. He's interviewing Daniel Bryan. And throughout the night, Charlie Sheen was promised to be the social media ambassador on the 1000th edition of Raw. And unfortunately, he closed his Twitter page due to some personal issues. But he was on Skype throughout the night. And during the interview with Sean Mooney, Daniel Bryan called out Sheen after some comments Sheen made about him earlier in the night. It seems like Sheen might have accepted a challenge to a future match between him and Daniel Bryan, maybe a possible confrontation at SummerSlam. As the story develops, I'll bring you guys some more information. Then we see a great video package about Raw 1000. Absolutely phenomenal. Included some footage with the Muppets. I mean, just some great stuff. The whole night was just great. I can't wait to see where they're going to go from here. It feels like Raw has a new direction. It feels like Raw is fresh. It feels like Raw is just going to take off once again, and the future looks really, really bright for Monday Night Raw. Then we go to Cena and Rock backstage. And then before that, we saw a really funny clip with Zack Ryder and Mean Gene Okerlund asking Mean Gene if he was responsible for the GTV angle back in the 1990s. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was a bunch of backstage grainy clips of embarrassing things that other superstars were doing. Actually, it was originally GDTV, and Goldust was responsible for it. And then once Goldust went back to WCW, they renamed it GTV. But just funny clip, and then Cena and Rock backstage, and Cena and Rock talking about maybe a potential future WWE Championship match between these two, depending on the outcome of the main event. Then we see Kane come out. Kane is interrupted by Jinder Mahal, Tyler Rex, Kurt Hawkins, Camacho, Unico, and Drew McIntyre. Then none other than the Phenom, the Undertaker, the Dead Man, one of the most important people in the history of Monday Night Raw. The only current WWE superstar that appeared on the first episode of Monday Night Raw comes out, and Taker and Kane clear house. They absolutely dominate and decimate all the superstars in the ring. And I love that phrase, dominate and decimate. And I haven't been able to say it in so long because we haven't had a mugging like this. I mean, absolutely good stuff. Then we go into the WWE title match, final segment of the night, where we see John Cena cashing his Money in the Bank briefcase and square off against CM Punk. During this match, we see the ref knocked out. Cena goes to hit the AAM Punk, and he actually goes for the pin, but there's no referee. He had the match won at this point. Cena goes to check the referee, and this is when the Big Show comes out. Big Show hits the WMD, and Cena is knocked out. CM Punk looks a little conflicted. He doesn't know really what to do, but he says, screw it, I got to win this match. I got to keep my title. He goes to get the ref. He goes for the pin. Cena kicks out. Cena ends up getting him into the STF. Big Show comes back out. He causes the match to go to a no contest, causing the disqualification. Then you see Big Show beating down on John Cena, and CM Punk's turned his back to him. He's doing absolutely nothing about it. And then he begins to walk out of the ring, walk towards the end, up the ramp towards the stage. And The Rock, none other than The Rock, comes out to make the save for John Cena. You know what? I think The Rock earned a certain amount of respect for John Cena's match at WrestleMania 28. So The Rock goes to make the save, and none other than CM Punk gets in the ring and starts assaulting The Rock. CM Punk knows if he's champion at that pay-per-view, he wants to send a message to The Rock now that if they're going to be facing off at the Royal Rumble, boy, you better be ready for me. They've been talking about doing a huge angle. Is this the huge angle? Is this what we were waiting to see? And if it was, oh my God. My God, CM Punk heel turn. Everybody's been talking about how CM Punk has become a little complacent, making comparisons to Austin Aries over in TNA Wrestling. Austin Aries really hasn't lost his edge since becoming champion, and CM Punk seemed to lose his edge a little bit. But CM Punk regained his attitude tonight, and he regained his edge. Could we see a launching of a new quote-unquote attitude era? Not that I'm going to brand it as that, but with CM Punk with his new attitude, with The Rock going after the WWE title, with Brock Lesnar and Triple H facing off at SummerSlam. I mean, what a phenomenal night. And it looks like the whole landscape of the WWE has been changed, and it's a fresh start. It is a new start going forward. Monday Night Raw is now 3 hours going forward, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It was such a packed Raw tonight. I hope in future weeks they can really impress like they did tonight. And like I said, probably the biggest disappointment of the night, if there was any disappointments, was that Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't there. But that's not to take anything away from all the great performers that appeared tonight, all the great angles, all the great everything that went into making this show. My hat's off to the WWE. You made this wrestling fan so happy. And to be perfectly honest with you, my children who have a hard time sitting through an entire episode of Raw, and I really don't like them staying up that late. And actually, they were in bed before Raw even finished. But I mean, for the first hour and a half of Raw, they were glued to the television. They were enjoying it so much. And the same with my wife. My wife is a wrestling fan. She absolutely loves wrestling and had been to several live events alongside me. And she was sitting here with a smile on her face for all 3 hours. I've never seen her enjoy an episode of Monday Night Raw like this, and I enjoyed it so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed my review. It was a little bit longer than normal. It was a little less formal, but as a wrestling fan, I wanted to review this as a wrestling fan. I didn't want to overanalyze it. I just wanted to enjoy it for what it was. And it was a great episode of Raw. And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. And now it's up to you guys to drop some of your comments below. Because without you guys, the fans and subscribers, I would be nothing. As you guys can tell, I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm going to go grab something to drink. I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and catch you later. For the effing brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com, my name is Brian Crazy. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.